I'm going to ask him. I want to take us back. Last year, remember, he was playing well and breaks his ankle, misses the rest of the season. So the Seahawks go out and draft Rashard Penny in the first round out of San Diego State. I want to ask him, did he think at that point in time, dude, it's over? About his breakout season, and we'll ask him about the Rams defense that the Saints have to beat.
Welcome into the gymnasium
at
Glasgow High School here in Newark,
next.
Delaware, where tonight we bring you a Blue Hen Flight Conference game between the 8-2 Glasgow Dragons and the 3-5
Whether you get us on Facebook, Twitter, on FoxSportsRadio.com, or you could just tune us in on your radio.
And the live stream on 302 Sports.
Imagine that.
Along with Marty Sheehan.
We know how to bring sports to you. This is Fox Sports Radio.
Their first 3 games, but haven't lost since.
In sports, a trade can make or break your team. A good one can mean a championship when else pop up. Then answer a few questions.
Excursions have been. Marty, both these flight beat teams are going in opposite directions.
A trade can make or break your team. A good one can mean a championship.
They're doing it by playing the basketball
together. Then answer a few questions.
Excursions have been. Marty, both these flight beat teams are going in opposite directions.
A trade can make or break your team. A good one can mean a championship.
They're doing it by playing this basketball
together. A good one can mean a championship.
They're doing it by playing this basketball together.
Then answer a few questions.
Last time. Marty, both these flight teams are going in opposite directions.
A good one can mean a championship.
They're doing it by playing this basketball together.
Game losing streaks, including 3 straight to end the season, costing them a state tournament berth. So
they have high expectations. A good one can mean a championship.
They're doing it by playing this basketball together. Marty, both these flight teams are going in opposite directions.
Losing streaks, including 3 straight to end the season, costing them a state tournament. Every game, they had a lead against Middletown. They went nip and tuck down the road with them in the beginning of the season before coming up 2 points short. This Glasgow team is working on some unfinished business. Had a great run through the state tournament last year, making it to the quarterfinal round at the Bob Carpenter Center before losing to eventual champ St. Elizabeth's. On the way, they knocked off the overall tournament #1 seed. Losing streaks, including 3 straight to end the season, costing them a state tournament. Every game, they had a lead against Middletown. They went nip and tuck down the road with them in the beginning of the season before coming up 2 points short. This Glasgow team is working on some unfinished business. Had a great run through the state tournament last year, making it to the quarterfinal round at the Bob Carpenter Center before losing to eventual champ St. Elizabeth's. On the way, they knocked off the overall tournament #1 seed. Losing streaks, 3 straight to end the season, costing them a state tournament. Every game, they had a lead against Middletown. They went nip and tuck down the road with them in the beginning of the season before coming up 2 points short. This Glasgow team working on some unfinished business. Had a great run through the state tournament last year, making it to the quarterfinal round at the Bob Carpenter Center before losing to eventual champ St. Elizabeth's. On the way, they knocked off the overall tournament #1 seed. Every game, they had a lead against Middletown. They went nip and tuck down the road with them in the beginning of the season before coming up 2 points short. The Glasgow team working on some unfinished business. Had a great run through the state tournament last year, making it to the quarterfinal round at the Bob Carpenter Center before losing to eventual champ St. Elizabeth's. On the way, they knocked off the overall tournament #1 seed. Every game,
Rivera, and they're trying to get them to fill in some of the void lost by Zaire Williams. All right, let's look at AI very quick. They're coached by Mark Van Kerkhoven. He is a 1990 graduate of St. Mark's in his second year as a head coach. Started with this group 4 years ago, so he's watched them come through. And they are, as you mentioned, a senior laden team who is looking to try to make the playoffs for the last time in their year. We're going to take a quick break here as they're getting ready to play the national anthem. When we come back, it's tip-off between AI DuPont and Glasgow High here on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports. Nice rendition of the national anthem there. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Earl Holland producing for us back in the Fox Sports 1290 studio. And the crew for 302 Sports here is live with us at courtside here at Glasgow High School. Last year, Glasgow won this matchup 69-41. As we mentioned, AI hasn't been in the state tournament. Glasgow, in the past 4 years, Glasgow has made it the past 2 years, losing last year in the quarterfinals to eventual state champion St. Elizabeth. For Glasgow, starting lineup, sophomore Trey Green, Mark Bradshaw.
You're listening to the Fox Sports pregame show on 1290 and iHeartRadio.
And the crew for 302 Sports here is live with us at courtside here at Glasgow High School. Last year, Glasgow won this matchup 69-41. As we mentioned, AI hasn't been in the state tournament. Glasgow, in the past 4 years, Glasgow has made it the past 2 years, losing last year in the quarterfinals to eventual state champion St. Elizabeth. For Glasgow's starting lineup, sophomore Trey Green, Mark Bradshaw.
You're listening to the Fox Sports pregame show on 1290 and iHeartRadio.
For 302 Sports here is live with us at courtside here at Glasgow High School. Last year, Glasgow won this matchup 69-41. As we mentioned, AI hasn't been in the state tournament. Glasgow, in the past 4 years, Glasgow has made it the past 2 years, losing last year in the quarterfinals to eventual state champion St. Elizabeth. For Glasgow's starting lineup, sophomore Trey Green, Mark Bradshaw.
You're listening to the Fox Sports pregame show on 1290 and iHeartRadio.
For 302 Sports here is live with us at courtside here at Glasgow High School. Last year, Glasgow won this matchup 69-41. As we mentioned, AI hasn't been in the state tournament. Glasgow, in the past 4 years, Glasgow has made it the past 2 years, losing last year in the quarterfinals to eventual state champion St. Elizabeth. For Glasgow's starting lineup, sophomore Trey Green, Mark Bradshaw.
You're listening to the Fox Sports pregame show on 1290 and iHeartRadio.
For 302 Sports here is live with us at courtside here at Glasgow High School. Last year, Glasgow won this matchup 69
against Middletown.
As I mentioned, AI hasn't been in the state tournament. Glasgow, in the past 4 years, Glasgow has made it the past 2 years, losing last year in the quarterfinals to eventual state champion St. Elizabeth. For Glasgow's starting lineup, sophomore Trey Green, Mark Bradshaw.
You're listening to the Fox Sports pregame show on 1290 and iHeartRadio.
Last year, Glasgow won this matchup 69 against Middletown. AI hasn't been in the
Great job by the big guy, Hunt, to impede the progress of the shooter there.
And they throw it, and it's going to go tipped up by Nichols on the home run ball there, and no good. Dantley comes down with it. They get it over into the corner. Jumper from the corner from three by Rollins is no good. Coming down with the rebound is George for AI. He's going to try to set it up here, driving down the middle. Dishes off underneath. Looked like a walk, no call. Bernard goes up strong, misses it. Hunt comes down with the rebound for Glasgow. Dragons with a lead, and driving in is Trey Green, swatted away by Dantley, but they're going to call a foul, and Green will go to the line to shoot two.
And already, John, you see the problems that this AI DuPont team has had throughout the season. They're just not finishing. A couple times now, at least 2 times, they've gotten into the lane for layups. They weren't able to finish. The referee trying to calm things down. We had a little jawing going back and forth there for a minute. But AI DuPont, with this, all the seniors on this team, they've got to expect more. They've got to be more patient in the early going. Glasgow, they love to get out and run the ball, but they can also slow it down. Again, this is a really complete Glasgow Dragons team.
Green's first shot is up and no good. Senior comes in averaging 7 points, 2 rebounds, a transfer from Christiana. As we mentioned, 2 transfers on this team. Damon Hancock, who we'll see before the night's over, transferred from Newark. He averages 10 points and 9 rebounds. So interesting that he's not in the starting lineup. Second shot for Green is up and good. So it is 2-0 Glasgow here early on, both points on foul shots.
Trey Green has been a great addition to this team, as has Damon Hancock, as AI struggles against the press here.
George has it in the corner, and a timeout is going to be taken by AI DuPont. They were not able to get the ball close to half court on that one. and it's going to be a 30-second timeout taken by AI. Tonight's broadcast is presented by the United States Air Force. The U.S. Air Force wants you to know there's a new recruiter in your area, Tech Sergeant Andrew Bugg. His office is located on the riverfront in Wilmington. Stop by and find out about exciting opportunities waiting for you in today's Air Force. 2-0 Glasgow with the lead early on here. They come in with an 8-2 record. Their only 2 losses were in the first of 3 games. They lost their opener to Middletown and then lost to the Friends Central School in Pennsylvania. Since then, they've rattled off 7 straight wins, and at a quick glance at their schedule, most of them have been by at least 7 or 8 points.
And John, the interesting thing about their win streak, their last 4 games, their highest scoring quarter in each of those games has been the fourth quarter, so they're a really strong finishing team.
Johnson has it, 6:37 to play. They're moving right to left. Dantley with a 3 from the left side. Nothing but the bottom of the net. So the senior, Jameer Dantley, nails a 3, and his team goes up 3-2 here. 6:25 remaining on the other side. Nichols juggles it underneath off the passes, tries to go up among the trees, gets his own rebound, puts it up and score. So a nice job by Nichols sticking with it there as Glasgow regains the lead. 4-3.
David Nichols, a great job individually just fighting through there. He fought off 4 AI DuPont defenders to get that rebound, put it up and in for the 4-3 lead.
Dantley's got it in the middle of the court. Glasgow in a man-to-man defense. Rollins has it on the right side. He's looking to drive in. Instead kicks it to Dantley in the corner. Pump fakes his man up, takes 1 step to the left, misses long, and Kent comes down with it for Glasgow.
Hunt, a really nice job there getting position on the defensive side.
A great pass underneath by Bradshaw trying to hit Mowbray. He wasn't able to come away with it, and quickly on the other side, it's a 3-pointer, nothing but net for Johnson.
Johnson, when he's at his best, he, Dantley, George, all of them can hit from outside. That time, Glasgow, they're not getting out to the perimeter. They're letting these guys have their shots, and right now, AI's making them pay for it.
And we're going to have a foul on the outside, and I believe it is going to be on Maxwell Johnson. They don't have the fouls here. We're going to try to keep track of them for you. They don't put them up on the scoreboard, and it's going to be on the ground, and so Glasgow will take it side out. And a jump shot by Green from the left wing, no good. And coming down with the rebound for AI is Roland Rollins. And Dantley has it swiped away. Green comes down with it, falls to the floor, but whips it out to Mowbray. Mowbray driving down the middle. And it gets stripped from him in the lane. That was Rollins who came up with it. Dantley with a nice move between the legs and scores.
The senior Dantley there, a little dipsy-do move between his legs to get past 2 Glasgow defenders. Lays it up and in. So a nice quick start after that timeout by
jump shot by Green from the left wing, no good. And coming down with the rebound for AI is Roland
They jumped out to a quick
Yes.
start. Appo called timeout.
Dantley
and
has it
mostly
snuck
Appo
away.
out there.
Green
Down out.
all
8-4. Halfway
it out
through
to
the
Mowbray.
first
Mowbray
period.
driving
Glasgow,
down the middle.
Bradshaw drives
And
in.
it
They
gets
get
stripped from
Nichols
him in the lane.
corner.
That was Rollins who came up with it.
Dantley
Dantley with a nice move between the legs and score.
And
Senior Dantley there, a little dipsy-do move between his legs to get past 2 Glasgow defenders. Lays it up and in. So a nice quick start after that.
And a jump shot by Green from the left wing, no good. And coming down with the rebound for AI is Roland Rollins.
Appo called timeout.
Dantley has it snuck away. Down out. 8-4. Halfway out to Mowbray. Mowbray driving down. And it gets stripped from him in the lane. That was Rollins who came up with it. Dantley with a nice move between the legs and score.
The senior Dantley there, a little dipsy-do move between his legs to get past 2 Glasgow defenders. Lays it up and in. So a nice quick start after that.
And a jump shot by Green from the left wing, no good. And coming down with the rebound for AI is Roland Rollins. Appo calls timeout. Dantley has
Mowbray had a very easy layup, but he looked like he was trying to draw some contact with Daniel Bernard and AI. Took a little bit of focus off his concentration there.
Nichols gets it over in the corner to Bradshaw. The lefty, a wide open 3, nothing but air. Kent with the rebound, puts it up. Dantley squats it out, and it's going to be Glasgow ball.
AI playing a lot more solid defense than we saw the other night against Appalachia. They look like they're a little bit more energized than they were. You said they sort of have this up and down.
It was Hunt who in the layup attempt. He checks out. Ismail Rivera checks in for Glasgow. 8-4. Tigers with the lead. Dragons with the ball moving right to that. Driving in hard is Rivera. Missed layup long. Coming down with it is Dantley. He's trying to go coast to coast and stripped away. But Bradshaw is going to be called for the foul.
John, I think in the last 3 minutes or so, we've seen AI play better than we saw all of the other night against Appoquinimink. They're playing again. It's a little different energy than they did the other night. A little more sense of urgency. Again, with a 4-5 record, these guys know that it's time to turn it on if they want to be part of the state tournament.
Bradshaw's foul, the first for Glasgow. They trail 8-4.
Tigers with the lead. Dragons with the ball moving right to that. Driving in hard with Rivera. Missed layup long. Coming down with it is Dantley. He's trying to go coast to coast and stripped away. But Bradshaw is going to right side where he's got foul.
Just checked in. They get it back up front to George. Over to the right side to Johnson. Johnson, they just can't penetrate the man-to-man defense here. They're trying to get the ball underneath.
Izzy Rivera is doing a great job underneath, John, keeping AI out of the lane.
Dantley works his way in, goes up for a layup, gets swatted away. Ball never left his shoulder, and the foul is going to be on Trey Green. That'll be his first, the team second.
Yeah, one of the things, if you watch Glasgow on tape, Izzy Rivera, I believe he's averaging about 6 rebounds a game, but he also gives them a real solid punch defensively. He and Hunt down low, using those bodies, push guys out, not letting them set up in prime scoring territory. So AI forced to work it around the perimeter a bit more.
Dantley's first free throw is up and no good. He was 1 of 3 in the game we did last week at home. And so the score remains 8-4. It's been stuck on that for about the last 2 minutes. Checking in for Glasgow is Artemis Flippin, and having a seat is David Nichols, the junior. So Flippin in for Nichols. Dantley's second shot is no good, and they're going to call a violation. Wouldn't have been good no matter what. Glasgow is going to take over. AI with a full court press here. Looks like a 1-2-2. We saw this last week against Appo, and it'll be interesting to see if the Dragons are able to break it. It's a 1-2-2 zone. Green has it. He gets trapped. He's looking to pass, and it gets stripped away by Dantley. Dantley lays it up off the front of the rim, and Dantley comes back down with it, rolls around, and it's going to be off him and to Glasgow ball. So Dantley did everything except make the layup there.
And you and I have talked about this a lot of times before during basketball seasons. Trey Green committing the Cardinals in there, putting the ball on the floor against that zone trapping press. It's got to be a pop right out of your hands, get it to the middle of the floor, again having trouble.
Yep, and it should be a foul, and it is going to be a foul. That will be on Kyle Morgan. He went for the steal, got all body, so it'll be his first, the team's fourth. And, they had Rivera in the middle, and they're just not able to get him the ball because of the long arms of the AI DuPont guards. 2:41 to play. AI, the visiting team, with an 8-4 lead over Glasgow. Mark Bradshaw, the star player of this Glasgow team, gets himself open off a nice pick. Three-pointer, no good from the top of the key, and Glasgow comes down with the rebound. They work it over to Mowbray. Mowbray fires from 3, goes up over the back of the backboard and out of bounds, so it will stay AI ball. And Jeremy Jean has called a full timeout for his Glasgow Dragons. They have not scored in unofficially over 2 or 3 minutes, and so he wants to talk about that. Don't forget, Crown Trophy in People's Plaza is your one-stop shop for trophies, plaques, medals, and so much more. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week and home of the Delaware State Championship Trophy and Mini Trophy. Visit Crown Trophy in People's Plaza in Newark or online at crowntrophy.com. A big thanks to our partner NKN Films for their outstanding design on our 2018 basketball schedule poster. Check it out online at foxsports1290am.com and stop by our broadcast table at the games to pick one up. They'll be published soon, and we'll have them both here at the games and online. Visit nknfilms.com for all your video needs.
John, I always try to come up with a nugget, a statistic that doesn't really jump out at anybody. I found one as they're playing some of these better teams. They're forced to, with not a lot of height, play a lot more on the perimeter. But in the early going of the season, they got to the line a lot. That's been a part of the problem for them.
And S.A.F. Akoto was part of the problem
a
week ago. For Appo High. He had a game-high 22 points, our Fox Sports 1290 Crown Trophy player of the game. AI's got the ball, an 8-4 lead, 2:19 to play. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. And George has it coming up the middle. Sort of a laid-back press that time.
Yes.
Not the one that we've seen both these teams exhibit so far. They get it over to Morgan. It's stolen by Mowbray, and Nasir Mowbray puts it up, hits the bottom of the rim, but is fouled by Kyle Morgan. And Kyle Morgan has quickly picked up his second. Rollins also has 2. That's who Morgan replaced, so a little bit of foul trouble early on for AI. We're still at the 2-minute mark of the first quarter.
One of the stars for AI against Apo the other night, John, was Rashawn George, the sophomore guard who scored 16 points, tied for game-high honors for AI with Dantley. He's been victimized twice against this Glasgow press tonight. He's, again, on a senior-laden team, he's the one youngster in there. It looks like Glasgow has kind of singled him out as the guy they're going to attack on the press.
Raheem Kelson has checked in.
Glasgow has kind of singled him out as the guy they're going to attack on the press.
Raheem Kelson has checked in for AI. Didn't see who head to the bench. First foul shot is up and no good by Mowbray. James Elwood, the 6'4" junior, is also going to check in. He's going to check in for Kyle Morgan, who exits with 2 fouls. The senior averaging 5.8 points a game. A couple uniform issues here, and they're sending guys off who aren't properly uniformed. That was Raheem Kelson, who had just gotten on the floor. Now he's off, and Rashawn George is back on the floor.
And now Rashawn George is coming off the floor.
And Rollins is heading back in. So this the JV AI team had a couple uniform issues, and guys were being sent off. And you can hear Coach Van Kerkhoven saying, I know what the issue is, and you're making the right call. And so it's one of those things, one of the things the referees are looking at as the second free throw is missed and out of bounds, but it's going to stay Glasgow ball.
And for AI, when things are going bad, when you start having players sent off for uniform issues.
Mowbray drives in, dishes it underneath nicely to Rivera, and Ismael Rivera picks up his first 2 points of the game, and it's now 8-6 for AI DuPont. They've got the ball left to right as we see it, the all-blue uniforms. Rollins has it on the right side. Glasgow in the man-to-man defense. They're in the all-white uniforms with the red trim. Working it around, they get it over to Johnson. Johnson trying to get by Flippin, isn't able to. Glasgow's done a nice job of keeping the AI team outside of the three-point area. And driving in is Dantley, and he gets hacked going up, and it's going to be a 2-shot foul for Dantley. And that foul is going to be on Tyler Green, his second foul, as Dantley is going to head to the foul line and shoot 2. He is 0 for 2 from the line so far tonight.
If you're Coach John for Glasgow, you've got to love the defensive intensity your team is playing with. Both these teams have really ratcheted up on the defensive side of the ball. Glasgow, as you said, not even letting them set up at the perimeter. AI 4 3-point attempt.
And Dantley, and a toe tip out of bounds. Wing well short on a three-pointer. Dantley comes down with it. He gets it over to Johnson. Johnson tries to dish it underneath to Kelson, and it's going to be a turnover to Glasgow High. And maybe one pass too many that time for the Tigers.
It was. It really disjointed first quarter here. Both teams, I think, have surprised the other side with how intensely they've played defense. Neither offense has really adjusted to it. We've seen spurts. We've seen Rashawn George take advantage. We've seen Green take advantage. But overall, it's been a defensive game.
Mark Bradshaw, the leading scorer on this team, is we're going to have a foul on Rashawn George. It'll be his first, and I believe it's going to be the 6th foul, so still not in the one-on-one. What I was going to say is Mark Bradshaw has been held scoreless. He came in averaging 16.6 points a game for Glasgow, only a junior and a kid already getting some Division I looks. It is a one-on-one situation here, and so going to the line is going to be Trey Green. He is 1 for 2 from the line tonight.
It's interesting. It almost looks like Glasgow hasn't seen a press all season. They've been really struggling to get the ball even to half court when AI turns it up. There was some token pressure early. Now that they're starting to trap, Glasgow's really struggling.
Foul shot no good, hard off the back of the rim. Dantley comes down with it. There's 13 seconds left to play. They work the ball up, almost throw it out of bounds. George has it, and he's going on the drive. And there's going to be a foul. The foul is going to be on Flippin. That'll be his first. Checking in for Glasgow is Jelani Thomas, and he's going to check in for Green, who's going to have a seat with his 2 fouls. Green, of course, came in a rush for Mowbray. When Mowbray went down with what looks like a sprained ankle, he's getting tended to by the trainer over on the sideline.
That time the speed of AI caused that foul. Our team is flipping, having to step in front of George.
NBA 3 taken by George. No good as the buzzer sounds, and that's going to bring us to the end of the first quarter here at Glasgow High. AI DuPont 11, the Dragons 8. We'll be back right after this.
More information about contests on this station, go to foxsports1290am.com/rules.
This cold won't let me sleep. I can't breathe. I have surprise coughing fits. I feel like a gorilla is putting me in a headlock.
For a nasty cold, try new NyQuil Severe with Vicks VapoCool.
Whoa! Like a lullaby soothing my senses. Everything feels so cool, like a full-body vapor hug. Sleep at last.
New NyQuil Severe with Vicks VapoCool. The vaporizing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
School bus drivers, custodians, nurses, just a few of the education support professionals who help schools in Delaware run smoothly. We'd like to honor an all-star in education. To award an ESP who's made an impact on your child's life, visit foxsports1290.com and click Contest. The winner will receive an award from Crown Trophy of People's Plaza, plus ticket and gift cards from local sponsors throughout the area. A big congratulations to our most recent winner, Christina Tyndall, bus driver in the Capital School District.
You're listening to the Delaware High School Hoops Game of the Week, presented by the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome back to Glasgow High. AI an 11-8 lead. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. AI jump shot there by James Elwood. No good. AI moving left to right. Dantley is in the game along with Johnson. Elwood, as I mentioned. Bernard and driving baseline. That was Kelson. Goes up, gets swatted away, and it's going to be a foul underneath. We were blocked there momentarily. We'll see who the foul is going to be against. I believe it might be against Bernard of AI. It is Daniel Bernard, his first. And Glasgow is in the 1-on-1 situation, so they'll take the full walk down the floor. And we'll see who ends up going to the line. It looks like it's going to be Artemis Flippin who will head to shoot the first of the 1-on-1.
And as you said, Brahim Kelson in the game for AI. I don't believe we saw him against Appoquinimink the other night. AI going deep into their bench this game.
Shot it up and no good. Thomas is in. Flippin is in. Rivera is in. Nichols is in. AI has the ball, working it around. Kelson got it, and it's stripped away by Rivera, or knocked away, I should say. Bradshaw has it. He dishes off to Nichols, and they're going to call traveling on Bradshaw. Bradshaw is struggling. He's the leader of this team. Came in averaging just under 17 points, held scoreless in the first half. You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. You can see the frustration on his face. He's got to channel that into other parts of his game. He is a very good all-around player. He dishes out the assists. He can go strong on the boards. He's just got to get in the mindset if they're going to shut him down, he's got to channel that and to help his team in other ways.
Maxwell Johnson and coach from AI is looking for the timeout, and he gets it. He's taking a full timeout. So Mark Van Kerkhoven didn't like something that he saw. His team up 11-8, and it's a 60-second timeout. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local Union 313 and the National Electric Contractors Association, NECA, energizing Delaware with their highly skilled electricians. Partnered with Signature Contractors, Local 313 electricians will safely get your job done right, on time, and within budget. Visit IBEW313.org. Introducing Domino's Hot Spots. Get pizza delivered to outdoor locations like parks, beaches, and more. Not a home? Not a problem. Visit Domino's.com for details on Domino Hotspots. So a good start for AI, Marty. They've also managed to keep Glasgow from coming back here at home. A couple times it looked like the advantage.
Life's
if you were
too
just
short
not
to
looking
hate
at
your
the
home.
scoreboard, you might think
Remodel your
Glasgow
home with the
had the
pros
lead.
for
They
the
had a lot
Delaware's
more
#1
shots. They've
home
been to the foul
improvement
line a lot
company.
more. They
Ferris
just haven't
Home
been able to put
Improvements
the ball
has
in the
something
hoop.
for
No,
every
they haven't,
homeowner
and
at their
I've
new
been
showroom
really impressed.
on the
Coach
corner of
Van
Kirkwood
Kerkhoven
Highway
obviously
and
has put
Harmony
some
Road
emphasis on
in
the
Newark,
defensive
Delaware.
side to try to get
Explore
offense from
products
that
and
side of the
layouts
ball.
with the
They
area's top designers. Touch and feel products that inspire your dream space. Ferris Home Improvement's pride in the details make them the area's best in roofing, windows and doors, siding, decks, kitchen.
As we talked about, AI needs a win as the ball gets stripped away. Bradshaw has it, still looking for his first points, goes up with the left hand. He is the lefty, misses it short. Coming down with it is Kelson for AI. Whipped ahead to Johnson. Looked like a goaltending, and it is. So Johnson is going to get credit for the 2 points, his fifth of the night, and he extends the AI lead 13-8.
Jelani Thomas with a little highlight reel there, though he did get called for the goaltending, a clear case of goaltending. But, again, great defensive hustle there.
AI flipping gets it across. AI with a little press. Bradshaw right in front of us. He's being guarded by Johnson. He gets it back over to Flippin. Almost looks like a 2-3 matchup zone that AI has. Now it is a man-to-man, and driving in is Nichols. Ball gets swatted away. I think that was Danley. It was. He scampers after it down the left side. He gets it. Johnson.
In the pregame, we talked about AI has really struggled in the second and third quarters all year. That's something that is not happening tonight. They are playing at an outstanding level, outstanding pace. They're forcing Glasgow to play AI's game.
And just as you say that, Kelson gets stripped of the ball, and there's a scrum on the floor. Nichols has it, then lost it. And one ref looks like he's got the call. The other one may be a foul. They're going to say it's AI ball, so it's going to stay on this end of the floor. The Tigers with an 8-point lead.
You know, it's been an ugly game, but boy, the urgency from both teams is outstanding. I mean, you can tell both these teams really want this game.
And looks like Glasgow playing a trapping zone press, and Johnson trying to get rid of it. He gets it over to Montgomery. Then he whips it over to Kelson. Fake the three, drives in underneath, stripped away by Rivera, the big man. He gets it up to Nichols. Nichols drives in, lays it up with his right, no good. Rivera follows it, no good. Coming down with it is Nichols. He goes up, gets stripped underneath, and it's going to be a jump ball. So a little helter-skelter there. And finally, a jump ball is called underneath. Checking in for AI is going to be Roland Rollins. He's going to come in for Kelson, it looks like, and they're going to say it is AI ball on the jump ball.
Down the other end of the floor, I'm sure they don't want Kelson driving in and trying to go up and under against some of these bigger and more experienced Glasgow defenders. But I got to tell you, I probably sound like a broken record. I'm shocked at the turnaround we've seen at the intensity level from AI DuPont, especially on the defensive end. They've really turned things up a notch.
Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. And as we said, they're in a 3-game losing streak. And they can't afford to lose a whole lot more games that are winnable. And this certainly is a winnable game. AI drives in, and Montgomery's got it. He gives it back out up front to Rollins. Rollins faked like he was going to go in. Bradshaw forced him back out. Back to Montgomery in the right wing. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Montgomery, the senior.
It's amazing. They're getting scoring contributions from all over the place. Kelson, Montgomery. Glasgow really doesn't have an answer now for where they're going with the AI is going with the ball. They're getting open looks all of a sudden, AI is. So a really nice job of playing team basketball on the Tiger side.
They get it into Hunt in the low post, covered by Elwood. Elwood with the foul, and so it's going to be a 1-and-1, and it'll be the big man, Rashawn Hunt, going to the line. Only a sophomore. I remember watching him as a freshman last year and thinking that he had an opportunity. And so the foul was on 22. Referees trying to straighten that out, and they get to the bottom of it. And so it'll be Hunt going to the line. Checking in is going to be Trey Green. Actually, he's going to be checking in for Hunt, so he's got to wait till the first shot is taken.
Yeah, Hunt's one of those kids. He played really well at times for Glasgow last year. He's one of those kids, as you said, just a sophomore. He's building up his experience level. He's getting a ton of minutes, and he really does a nice job on the defensive end, keeping the post players out of prime scoring position, which is his main responsibility. He's also chipping in some points. He's able to dish off on occasion inside if the defense collapses on him. So all around, becoming a really good ball player. Again, just a sophomore.
Foul shot is up and no good for Hunt, so it remains 22-11. AI with the lead, 2:55 to play. Second shot hits the front of the rim in the exact same space. No good. AI comes down with the rebound. That was James Elwood who had picked up the foul. Montgomery now switches corners and nails a three from the left corner. So Kyle Morgan, 2 straight 3-pointers, and it is 25 26-11, the largest lead of the night, and Glasgow throws it away, once again struggling to break the press.
Again, AI taking advantage of matchups. That time Hunt got caught in a mismatch against Kyle Morgan and just was not able to get out to the perimeter. Morgan had all day to set up and drain another. He's got one of those perfect-looking three-point shots from the corner, John.
I called him Montgomery. I met Morgan, and he put his team up 25-11. AI leads Glasgow. Jeremy Jean has taken a timeout to try to figure out how they can figure out to break this press. Even when they're breaking it, they're not getting good shots. And so it's not only a matter of breaking it, but then getting set up in their offense. AI with a 25-11 lead. Make sure to stay tuned for the Fox Sports 1290 halftime show. Earl Holland will get you up to date on all the sports news around the state. That's the Fox Sports 1290 halftime show coming up at the half. So, Marty, 25-11, AI over Glasgow, and you said it. AI looks like a completely different team than we saw a week ago against Appoquinimink. AI jumped out to a 6-0 lead, and then it basically was Appo from there on out.
It just seems like they've Coach Van Kerkhoven got it in their head that this is must-win from this point forward. And, again, I hate to keep using the word, but the intensity level is just so much higher than we've seen any time on tape, and certainly anything we saw against Appoquinimink.
They've put Bradshaw on Morgan to try to make sure he doesn't get any more open looks. It looks like Bradshaw's got at least 3 inches. It works as they've tried to get it to the corner both times. There it is again, and drawing a foul on Bradshaw. That's going to be his second, so he's got 2, and Green has 2. Arguably the 2 best players for for Glasgow. Neither wants to pick up its third. Artemis Flippin is going to check in, and he is coming in for Bradshaw. So that's the story of the game so far, Marty. Bradshaw, the leading scorer on this team, 16.6 points, takes a seat with 2:09 to play, held scoreless so far by this AI defense.
You have to think at halftime, Coach John is going to get things together and try to figure out a way to get him involved in the offense, even if it's not scoring. Plus, they're putting him on AI's best player until they just took him out, so they're trying to find ways to get him involved.
Kelson now with the drive picks up a foul against Nichols. Nichols his first foul, but it is the 1-on-1 situation. And so heading to the line is Brahim Kelson. He's hit the 3. He'll have a chance now to do the 1-on-1.
Brahim Kelson kind of came out of nowhere, John. I don't recall seeing a ton of him on tape at all.
No.
And so, again, Coach Van Kerkhoven going deep into the bench, and Kelson, just a freshman, but has played beyond his years, done a really nice job fitting into the flow of this offense tonight. And a
nice arch, almost brought rain.
Holy smokes, that's one of the higher arching free throw shots I've seen in a while. Perfect form from Kelson, the freshman, doing a fantastic job.
Biggest lead of the game, 15 now for AI, 26-11. Second foul shot up, rattles in and out, no good. Coming down with the rebound is Rivera, averages 6 rebounds a game. The AI is going to keep the pressure on. The 15-point lead has been caused a lot by this press, and a three-pointer by number 3, Nasir Mowbray from NBA range.
Yeah, not the shot Coach John wants from Mowbray. That's a three-pointer, as you said, from about 25 feet. He had room to move up. He had lanes to pass the ball, just not what you're looking for out of Mowbray.
1:33 to play, 26-11. They get it inside to Bernard. He kicks it back out, and a jump shot, no good. That shot by James Elwood. Not sure that's a shot AI was looking for either.
I agree 100%. Elwood was wide open, but I'm sure Coach Van Kerkhoven would love to see them work it around, get it in the hands of one of the more prolific scorers on the team.
And a turnover by Glasgow. Flippin had it, kind of handed it off to Trey Green, and he fumbled it out of bounds, so it's going to be AI ball. Dantley and Rollins are going to check in. Elwood's going to have a seat, as is Kelson. And I think part of the things that Van Kerkhoven has done here is he's shaken things up a little bit.
He has.
When you go on a 3-game losing streak, and none of those 3 games were really close, you got to try to do something.
Fair game. Yeah, Dantley has sat for a while now. He's the top scorer on the team. You're right. He's gone deep into the bench.
They get it underneath to Rollins. Rollins with a turnaround jumper, nothing but the right side of the backboard there. A bad miss, and Nichols comes down with it. He's pushing it up on the other side. Rollins picks him up. Mowbray has it now on the left side. Dantley back in, just as you mentioned that, Marty, and up and underneath. A nice pass. Rivera for 2.
Great job of positioning there by Rivera, and a good job of finding him for the open look. Last 2 AI possessions, I'm not sure you want those 2 shots from the guys that took them for Coach Van Kerkhoven. So I want to get the ball in the hands of the scorers.
26 26-13. 30 seconds left here in this first half. AI with a 13-point lead. Dantley's got it. Looks like they might be satisfied playing for the last shot. Dantley drives in, and a foul against Glasgow. That's going to be Mowbray. The foul shot makes it, but I don't think it's going to count as a whistle blew. And subbing in for Artemis Flippin is Mark Bradshaw. So Bradshaw back on the floor, has to be careful not to pick up his third foul. So even though Dantley made it, the referee had blown the whistle to allow the substitution, which I'm not sure why they did before. Oh, I know why. It's a 1-and-1. That's why. And the shot is up and good for Dantley. So Dantley with a game-high 11 points so far. He is the leading scorer for AI, averaging 12 a game. And it's 27-13, a 14-point lead. 23 seconds left to play here. AI over Glasgow. We're live from Glasgow High. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Dantley's second shot is up, and it is good. So cuts the lead down to, or makes the lead, extends it to 28-13. 15 is the highest it's been two different times. 15 seconds left. Looks like Bradshaw is going to try to take Johnson to the hoop. The lefty does, and then he dishes it off to Green. Green with a three-pointer from the left corner. No good. Johnson comes down with it, flips it over his shoulder to Dantley, and Dantley lays it in and good as time expires here in the first half. So a great hustle play there by AI, and they are going to head into the locker room with their largest lead of the game, 30-13, a 17-point lead for the AI Tigers over Glasgow High. We're going to send it back to the studio. Earl Holland will have a sports update for you, and then we will be back for the second half. Once again, your halftime score, AI DuPont 30, Glasgow 13 here on Fox Sports 1290 and the 302 Sports live stream.
Didn't see this coming.
No.
The wind is howling 34 degrees and it's snowing or raining. Aren't you glad you can still get your pet food supplies and toys by shopping local at Concord Pets and without going out the door? ConcordPetFoods.com has a huge selection to choose from, and it's so convenient. This time of year, just snuggle up to your pet and order everything with easy shipping and delivery from ConcordPetFoods.com. Or consider the alternative.
This cold won't let me sleep. I can't breathe. I have surprise coughing fits. I feel like a gorilla is putting me in a headlock.
For a nasty cold, try new NyQuil Severe with Vicks VapoCool.
Texted, I give up.
Whoa, like a lullaby soothing my senses.
She gonna watch it on
Everything
YouTube?
Feels
Yeah.
so cool, like a full-body vapor hug. Sleep at last.
New NyQuil Severe with Vicks VapoCool. The vaporizing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Come into Lowe's this new year and give your home a new look for less. Update floors in any room with SmartCore vinyl starting at $279 per square foot. It's easy to install even over existing surfaces, plus it's 100% waterproof. Rather not do it yourself? Lowe's offers professional flooring installation that makes it easy for you to get the flooring you want with no hassle. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. While supplies last, restrictions apply. Installed by independent contractors. Subject to product and installer availability. See store or Lowe's.com for licensure and details. U.S. only.
The U.S. Air Force wants you to know there's a new recruiter in your area. He's Technical Sergeant Andrew Bugg and is 1050 Justison Street in Wilmington. Stop by and find out about the exciting opportunities waiting for you in today's Air Force. Or call Sergeant Bugg at 302-287-9733. This message is brought to you by the United States.
Carry out large 3-topping pizzas and now medium 3-topping handmade pan pizzas for $7.99 each. It's fantastic news.
Cut. Puns?
You mean pans? Calling all pan addicts for 2 layers of cheese on crispy golden crust. So grab your panty packs, because Domino's large 3-topping pizzas and medium 3-topping handmade pan pizzas are $7.99 each. It's pandemonium. Fantastico. Carry out only. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, and charges may vary.
Warm up your cold winter days with hot deals during Aaron's Winter Warm-Up. Yes, hot deals on living rooms, TVs, and even washers and dryers with no credit needed and free delivery and setup. Plus, this hot offer from January 11th to the 15th. Just $1 gets you started leasing to own, and then no payments until February 15th. Start with just $1 at participating stores or Aaron's.com and enjoy Aaron's Winter Warm-Up now while the deals are still hot. Transaction advertised as a rental purchase agreement. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
American Spirit Federal Credit Union brings you Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's like never getting surprised by an ATM fee. No account fees, no ATM fees, no minimum balance, but Kasasa pays you up to 39 times more interest than those mega banks. Surprised? What are you waiting for?
Ask for free Kasasa checking at American Spirit Federal.
Welcome to the high school basketball game of the week halftime report. Presented by IBEW Local 313.
I could have sworn Kelson had a 3.
So did I, but they don't have it. I could have sworn he did too.
Yeah.
And good evening. I'm Earl Holland in the Fox Sports 1290 studio, and this is the IBEW Local 313 halftime report. It's halftime at Glasgow as the host Dragons trail AI DuPont 30-13. Let's take a look around the rest of the state this Tuesday night of Delaware high school basketball. In addition to in addition to AI DuPont in Glasgow, there are 16 other games on the schedule, so that means we have a really heavy slate tonight. Looking at the early games that started, Middletown at Christiana, that was a 5 o'clock game. St. Thomas 4 at Free Air Charter, that is also a 5. Games that started at 5:15, Lake Forest at Hodgson, Wilmington Friends at Red Lion, Milford at Laurel, Sanford at Tower Hill. They were all 5:15 starts. Moving on to the 5:30 games. Dover at ACHS at DSU. St. George's at Howard. Tatnall at St. Andrews. Woodbridge at Sussex Tech. And then moving on, 6:15, Del Castle at Cape Henlopen. Sussex Central at Indian River. Moving on to the late game of the night, it is Cesar Rodney at Smyrna, 7 p.m. Moving on, girls high school basketball. 14 games on the schedule. St. Andrews at Tatnall was the early game at 3:45. Score games at 4. Polytech at Del Castle. First State Military at Sussex Academy. Tower Hill, Wilmington Friends. 4:30, Free Air Charter at Newark. Those games were the early starts. William Penn at AI DuPont, 4:45, as well as Hodgson at Mount Pleasant. Sussex Central at Indian River and Christiana at Middletown were games starting at 5. Smyrna and Appoquiniminic at 5:15. St. George's at Woodbridge at 5:45. And ECHS at DSU. They are playing in Milford, and that game starts at 6:15. Moving on to men's college basketball. The Delaware men saw their CAA winning streak snap despite Ryan Allen's 23-point effort as the Blue Hens fell to College of Charleston Saturday night at TD Arena in Charleston, South Carolina. The Blue Hens, who are 12-7 overall and 4-2 in the CAA, return to the Bob Carpenter Center Thursday night as they host James Madison. That tip-off is set for 7 p.m. After that, the Blue Hens continue their homestand as Towson comes into the Bob this Saturday. Tip-off for that game is also at 7 p.m. Those games can be heard on sister station. Coverage beginning 30 minutes.
Be interesting to see if they can keep this up.
Yeah.
Curious to see if Glasgow is going to try to start maybe pounding the ball inside a little bit. AI's got no size at all.
Back in action tonight as they host the Timberwolves. Philadelphia picked up a 108-105 win over the Knicks in New York on Sunday. The Sixers are 28-16 and 4th in the Eastern Conference. And moving on to NCAA men's basketball. Villanova officially jumped into the 21st spot in the latest coaches poll. The Wildcats are coming off wins over St. John's and Creighton. Nova is a perfect 4-0 in the conference play and 13-4 on the season. We'll host Xavier on Friday. We'll send it back down courtside at Glasgow with John and Marty for second half action. You're listening to the iHeart Radio halftime report here on Fox Sports 1290.
Coming back after this commercial.
Game of the week halftime report presented by IBEW Local 313 and its local contractors. We'll be right back with the start of the second half on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and on our iHeart Radio app.
School bus drivers, custodians, nurses, just a few of the education support professionals who help schools in Delaware run smoothly. We'd like to honor an all-star in education. To award an ESP who's made an impact on your child's life, visit foxsports1290.com and click Contest. The winner will receive an award from Crown Trophy at People's Plaza, plus ticket and gift cards from local sponsors throughout the area. A big congratulations to our most recent winner, Christina Tyndall, bus driver in the Capital School District.
Come into Lowe's for everything you need to bring your home into 2019. Give your products, including the 66-quart hefty clear storage tote for $8.48. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 1/31 while supplies last. U.S. only.
American Spirit Federal Credit Union brings you
Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's like never getting surprised by no account fees, no ATM fees, no minimum balance, but Kasasa pays you up to 39 times more interest than those megabanks. Surprise? What are you waiting for?
And for free Kasasa checking at American Spirit Federal Credit Union.
The wind is howling 34 degrees and it's snowing or raining sideways. And the last time you went out in heavy traffic, several drivers were making funny gestures at you. Aren't you glad you can still get your pet food, supplies, and toys by shopping local at Concord Pets and without going out the door? ConcordPetFoods.com has a huge selection to choose from, and it's so convenient. This time of year, just snuggle up to your pet and order everything with easy shipping and delivery from ConcordPetFoods.com. Or consider the alternative.
Welcome back to the Delaware High School Basketball Game of the Week, presented by the U.S. Air Force on Fox Sports 1290, FoxSports1290AM.com, and on iHeartRadio.
John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. The second half is underway here at Glasgow High. The Dragons, a tall task in front of them as they trail AI 32-13. And it's going to be a double dribble called on Trey Green, the Christiana transfer. Not exactly what Jeremy Jean was hoping, Marty, coming out of the locker room.
No, and I'm actually, I'm not sure it was. The ball got tipped, and the two referees closest to the play kept their whistles in their mouths. They didn't do anything. It was called by the ref furthest away. But, again, as you said, not the way they want to start coming out of halftime after a really, really sluggish first half.
Roshan George, the sophomore for AI, tries to penetrate, ends up kicking it back out to Maxwell Johnson. He's on the floor. Dantley is on the floor along with Roland Rollins and Daniel Bernard. So the same starting five for AI. Kent is on the floor. Green.
John, even the cutting, the passing lanes, the picks being set, this AI offense is completely different than we've seen. They're just playing at a different level.
Euro step there by Roshan George, and he's going to get fouled and go to the line and shoot two. And the foul is going to be on Rashawn Hunt, his first, team's first of the second half. And heading to the line will be Rashawn George. George, 2 points in the first half. We'll finish with who's on the floor here. Rashawn Hunt is on for Glasgow, along with Mark Bradshaw, held scoreless in the first half as the first shot is up and good for George. Nasir Mowbray on the floor, along with David Nichols, rounding out the starting five here in the second half for the Dragons, who now trail 31-13. Second shot is up and no good. So 18 points, the largest lead of the night for AI. Nichols has it, drives in, runs over Bernard. They're going to call a blocking foul on Bernard. And so that's going to be his second foul of the game. A non-shooting foul will be Glasgow's ball underneath.
Yeah, Nichols kind of got bailed out there. He was completely out of control as he barreled in. Unfortunately for AI, the defender moved, causing that blocking call.
And a quick pass underneath. A nice job by Nichols. He finds Mark Bradshaw, picks up his first 2 points of the night. So coming in, averaging 16.6 points per game. Bradshaw has just 2, has pulled his team up 31-15, or I should say within 31-15. Still a large margin of points left to go here for them to catch up. George has it at the top of the key. He's being guarded by Bradshaw. Man-to-man defense for Glasgow, as they've been most of the way, just underway here in the third quarter. Dantley looked like he walked, and instead he throws it away. Bradshaw is going to pick it up. He drives in, scoops it up with his right hand, had the wrong spin on the ball. Kent comes down with it, lays it up, gets smacked away, and then Bernard flies out of bounds and knocks it out. It's going to stay Glasgow ball, it looks like.
Yeah, Bradshaw tried to go up and under. He probably, the safer bet would have been to go straight up, draw the contact. He tried to go up and around. As you said, got a really awkward spin on the ball as he came off the other side. So offensive struggles continue for him, although he did have the early two in this half.
Green drives in on the baseline, floats one up, is good, and is fouled. So Trey Green, the senior, will head to the foul line. Just his third point of the night, comes into the game averaging 7. I didn't catch who the foul was on. Checking in for AI is Kyle Morgan. He's going to replace Rashawn George. Maybe the foul was on George, and is why he's sitting out. If it was, it would be his third foul.
And Glasgow, they're looking right now like with Bradshaw struggling offensively. They're trying to find someone else to pick up the slack. Green right there with a really nice job of slicing into the lane.
Missed the foul shot, bounces around inside, and it's going to stay Glasgow ball. So 2 straight balls out of bounds there that Glasgow has managed to keep a hold of. They trail 31-17. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Glasgow moving left to right now as we see it. The all-white uniforms with the red and gold trim. AI in the navy blue from top to bottom with gold trim. And a jumper from 3 from Albury. No good. Kent with the rebound, and he takes it, tries to get it back up, gets knocked away, and then it's swatted away by Morgan. And coming down with it is Rollins. He throws it the length of the floor, finds Johnson. Johnson gets it to Dantley in the corner. Dantley drives in, partially knocked away by Kent. And now it is Morgan with a three-pointer, short, gets his own rebound, follows his shot. You don't see that often in high school ball, Marty. And Morgan having trouble finding a man, and a 30-second timeout is taken by Mark Van Kerthoven. So a nice move by the AI coach in his second year there. Nice hustle by Morgan. As I mentioned, you don't see a lot of guys following their shots at any level.
The Hadley Group is your local real estate resource. Brian Hadley joined Patterson Schwartz & Associates in 2005. In 2013,
back to the defensive end. So, as you said, a great job by Morgan there to follow it up. And already we're seeing AI continues to just kind of outwork Glasgow. They're getting mostly every loose ball. They're fighting for everything, even down the other end. When Hunt pulled down a big rebound, they forced him into a awkward position where he ended up throwing the ball away. So AI, whatever they talked about at halftime, as we talked about in the pregame and a little bit in the first half, they're very sluggish when they come out in the third quarter in most of their games this season. That has not been the case so far tonight. It looks like they've tried to turn over a new leaf, and again, a lot of substitutions.
And a nice play out of the timeout, and unfortunately Morgan's pass underneath the Bernard was knocked away. It's going to be Glasgow ball. So AI, we're at the 5:40 mark here of this third quarter. AI has scored just 1 point on a foul shot. Dantley led all scorers with 13 in the first half. Kyle Morgan with 9, although we think they gave Kyle Morgan a 3 that should have belonged to Brahim Kelson. We'll have to check that when we watch the video later on tonight. A turnover by Glasgow. So that just when things seem to start to be going their way, they've scored 4 of the 5 points here in the second half.
A lot of
costly turnover.
A lot of unforced errors, John, for Glasgow. And watching the tape, it's just not something we see very much of. That time, just a little lackadaisical lapse in concentration cost them the ball. But for AI, again, this is the danger zone, the third quarter. They've come out intense, but they haven't been able to turn it into points.
Moving right to left, Dantley has it on the right wing. He's being guarded by Green. Flies by him, scoops it up and under, no good. Coming down with the rebound, who's Rivera. He gets it out quickly to Nichols. Nichols slides in and is going to go to the line. There'll be a foul there. It's a shooting foul, so he'll get to shoot 2. Nichols is a kid that Jeremy Jean, as the fouls on Daniel Bernard, that's going to be his third. And my guess is James Elwood, who just took a seat in front of us, is going to be checking in for Bernard, as both he and Rashawn George now have 3 fouls apiece. That's the one thing that's not looking good for AI DuPont right now.
And we talked about off air during halftime is Glasgow possibly trying to work more inside to force some foul trouble for AI, to force themselves to the free throw line to try to climb back into this game. And so far, they've really gone hard to the basket. They've picked up some fouls that they weren't able to get in the first half. So a nice start for Glasgow. AI, this is, again, they're in the danger zone here. They can't let this get away from them like they have so many games this season already.
Nichols 2 of 2 from the line. Now the lead is 31-19 AI over Glasgow. 5:01 to play here in the third quarter. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Dantley's got it. He gets it into the hands of Rollins. He's guarded closely by Bradshaw, who's been held in check tonight. Morgan now is going to get called, and it's going to be a hand check foul there. I think that's going to be on Nasir Mowbray. It is Mowbray's second, so fouls are catching up very quickly to both of these teams.
They are, and I think Mowbray, he got away with it twice. The referee was willing to let him go. He kept persisting. He got a little more physical with the contact, so I like that call. You don't want to let that go too far.
Morgan inbounds, to Rollins, the junior. He's going to try to take Bradshaw to the hoops, gets it in, dishes it back out to Morgan, works it over to Dantley. Dantley being covered by Nichols. Dantley flies right by three different guys, but then loses control of the ball underneath. AI comes away with it. Dantley has it back in his hand, misses a gimme layup from the left side, and coming down with it for Glasgow is Nasir Mowbray. And Bradshaw's calling for the ball. Dantley catches up to him very quickly. Green drives in, scoops it up and in. So Trey Green with his 4th point of the second half, 5th of the night, and it's now a 10-point game, 31-21. 4:08 to play in the third quarter. AI led by as many as 18 at the start of the going to be in any rush. The clock is in their favor.
No, they're doing a really good job, again, continuing that press, forcing Glasgow into a ton of unforced errors. They're just getting themselves in a bad position, throwing the ball away.
And it's Morgan, Kyle Morgan, the senior, has it on the right wing. He gets it to Elwood on the left wing. And Rivera is out covering him 5 feet on top of the three-point line. Not sure that's what a good move strategically there.
No, Rivera, there's no way you want to commit a foul guarding your man that far from the basket, a guy who's not a threat in Elwood to take a three-pointer. He's a 6'4 junior, but he's not hit a lot of threes for this team. So, no, not a good foul for Glasgow.
Raheem Kelson checks in for James Elwood, so the freshman in. We think he deserves a three-pointer that neither book had, so maybe we're wrong, but we'll be watching the 302 Sports replay, and we'll see who's right about that. Either way, the freshman getting some solid playing time here for AI. 3:21 to play. They've got a 34-21 lead. Dantley driving in. They're going to call a foul, and that foul is going to be on Trey Green. That's going to be his third. So Green has 3. Mowbray has 3. 3 apiece for Rashawn George and Daniel Bernard for AI. And Flippin is going to check in for Green. So Artemis Flippin, who checks in with 3 points, is going to be in for Glasgow.
And, John, it feels like as we get another uniform violation, they force Flippin to tuck his shirt in. It feels like this is one of those games that may come down to free throws as we start to get into foul trouble for both these teams.
And a great play underneath. Morgan gets it to Rollins, and Rollins gets the layup. You never want to see that on the defensive side if you're a coach. And Glasgow gives up an easy 2. And it is now a 15-point lead for AI. Dantley flying through the air, and there's going to be a foul from behind. Maxwell Johnson's going to get called for it. Dantley threw it back to half court, which is what you're supposed to do.
I love that, John. That's another thing. You know, we talked about following up the shot. You don't often see that either. A lot of times you see guys as they're flying out of bounds trying to throw it under their basket. And give up an easy 2 points. I love Dantley throwing it out as far as he could to half court. It's a good heads-up play from the senior.
And so Mark Bradshaw, he gets it underneath to Rivera. Rivera in a low post turns and puts it up and scores. So assist to Bradshaw, and Rivera now with 8 points already at his season average and has narrowed the AI lead to 13, 36-23 at the 2:57 mark here. And Ismael Rivera will go to the line and try to make it even less.
And Rivera's a big-bodied kid. Watching him on tape, he can do that. He gets inside. He's got a really interesting-looking free throw where his hands kind of wing out in either direction as he lets the ball go. But he can be a force inside. Look for them to try to get him the ball more in this third quarter.
Free throw was good, and a near steal on the other side by Mowbray. And they're going to call traveling against the freshman, Raheem Kelson. It's going to be Glasgow ball, so the momentum's starting to turn in Glasgow's favor a little bit here.
Glasgow is starting to sense, again, that they're the team that comes into this game on a 7-game win streak. They're the team that was dictating the pace in all their games. Looks like they've decided they're going to settle things down. They're going to work the ball around the offense, work the ball inside.
So Johnson has 3, Bernard has 3, and George has 3. 3 of the 5 starters for AI in foul trouble. Trey Green is going to check in for Glasgow. He's going to get Nasir Mowbray, and it's going to be James Elwood checking in for Maxwell Johnson.
And, John, one thing you can look at right off the bat, 6 points AI has left on the board. We had the missed dunk by Bernard wide open, and we've had 2 wide open missed layups from Dantley. So 6 points that hopefully AI won't be ruining they didn't get.
Nichols fires from three, nothing but the bottom of the net. So David Nichols now with 7 points, and it is a 9-point game. I'm sorry, they gave him a 2, so it's going to be a 10-point game, just a 2-pointer for Nichols. And we got a referee blew the whistle here, and Dantley went flying to the corner.
Looks like we have an injured player.
We do. Elwood has looked like he's
may have taken a
limpering
low
around.
shot. Yeah,
He's coming out, and Rashawn George is going to check in. Now, George, according to my stats, has 3 fouls. So
yeah, this could get interesting, Jai. I was just getting ready to point that out. George coming in before AI and Baker Coven wanted to put him back in the game, so it'll be interesting to see if Glasgow tries to take advantage of that.
And Morgan gets the ball right in front of us and inbounds it into the back court to George.
And George in a serious mismatch here against Izzy Rivera out front. A definite speed advantage in 2 or 3 minutes.
Right. So inbounding right in front of us is Rollins. He's being guarded by the big man, David Nichols. Tough guy to throw over. They get it into the backcourt to George. And Rivera is on that mismatch again. So I'm not sure why Rivera is covering one of the quickest players that we've seen.
No, I'm not either. At least this time he's giving George some space. Now he's moving up on him again, and George is content to just let him stay there, try to force him to come out.
And Kelson comes out. He ends up beating his man, drives to the basket, and drops it in. So the freshman, Baheem Kelson, picks up his first bucket, at least his first official bucket, and gets AI on the board and extends their lead to 12. 1:22 to play in the third quarter. Green fires from 3 and nails it. So Trey Green, a quiet first half, has 7 points here in the third quarter. It's 38-29, and so for the first time since midway through the second quarter, the lead for AI is back. 38-29, Glasgow with the ball moving left to right as we see it. 1 minute to play here in the third quarter, this Flight B matchup. Glasgow with a 7-game winning streak, AI a 3-game losing streak, and whipped underneath. A nice pass from Mowbray, but unfortunately Rivera isn't able to handle it, and it's into the hands of AI. 38-29, the Tigers have a lead. Dantley drives in, scoops it up, and misses his third layup of the third quarter. Rivera comes down with it. Bradshaw whips it ahead to Green. Green lays it in and scores.
All of a sudden, John, as you said, Glasgow is just feeling it. Dantley again. You know, it's and we're not trying to pick on Dantley at all, but he keeps going with that up and under kind of dipsy-do layup, and that's the third time we've seen him miss it. And, boy, this game is really turning around.
And AI had to call a timeout. They couldn't get the ball inbounds, and so it's going to be a full timeout. According to my stats, that's going to leave AI with just 1 left as they lead 38-31. Time running out here in the third quarter, and Glasgow has dominated much of this quarter. AI led 30-13, and now it is 38-31 as we near the end of the third quarter. Tonight's broadcast is presented by the U.S. Air Force. The U.S. Air Force wants you to know there's a new recruiter in your area, Tech Sergeant Andrew Bugg. His office is located on the riverfront in Wilmington. Stop by and find out about the exciting opportunities waiting for you in today's Air Force. After the game, we'll announce our Crown Trophy Player of the Game. Crown Trophy in People's Plaza is your one-stop shop for trophies, plaques, medals, and so much more. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week and home of the Delaware State Championship Trophy and Mini Trophy. Visit Crown Trophy in People's Plaza in Newark or online at crowntrophy.com. Speaking of the Player of the Game, Marty, this is one of the few broadcasts we've had in either sport that we do where I'm not sure who I would pick right now.
I was just thinking the same thing as you mentioned Crown Trophy. I thought, you know what, there's a lot to choose from here. Everybody's kind of doing some different things. There's been some stars on the boards. There's been a lot of good defense played. But, you know, it's interesting. It actually got to 31-13 very early in the half, so an 18-point lead, which has now been shaved by 11 points, and we're still in the third quarter. So Glasgow has really, really turned it on, and we talked about it being the danger zone in the third quarter for AI, and it's proven to be a bugaboo for him again.
And Jeremy John comes out of the timeout with a man-to-man press. Dantley gets it in to George. George being guarded by Nichols, now almost double-teamed. And George is content to try to beat the double team. He does. He gets it over to Rollins on the right wing. Now they're going to bring it up and settle things down. 13 seconds left to play. Almost thrown away. Dantley skies to get it. He's being guarded by Bradshaw. Bradshaw ticks it away. Dantley regains it. 5 seconds to play. And they're going to call a foul on Bradshaw. Bradshaw's got to be careful here not to pick up a technical, but it is his third foul. So several players on both teams have 3 fouls.
You know, I love the intensity from Bradshaw. Again, he's having trouble scoring the ball, but he got a little bit too aggressive. Once you start to feel it that you're not helping your team offensively, you try to channel that, as we talked about, in different ways. He's really, really playing well. He's starting to find some open men in the passing lanes, but that time just a little bit too handsy. He picks up the call and sends Dantley to the line.
1-1 for Dantley, has 13 points, just 1 of 4 from the free throw line in the first quarter. Shot is up and good. So not much spin on that ball, but it went in. And I noticed that, as good a scorer as he is, he doesn't have a lot of rotation on his ball. I was watching him during warm-ups, but somehow he manages to get the ball in.
You're right, and this is a situation now where AI, with 5 seconds left in the third quarter, is going to be shooting free throws for the rest of the game. This has not been a strong point for them, about 57% on the season. Good deal there for Dantley as he comes through with both.
4 seconds left here. Bradshaw's got the ball, launches from NBA 3 and scores. So Mark Bradshaw held scoreless in the first half, picks up a big three-pointer as time expires here in the third quarter to pull his team within 6. That's as close as they've been since early in the second quarter. That brings us to the end of the third quarter. We'll be back here in the fourth.
High Street in Wilmington. Stop by and find out about the exciting opportunities waiting for you in today's Air Force. Or call Sergeant Bug at 302-287-9733. This message is brought to you by the United States Air Force.
Over a deck.
Dantley fires from 2 on the other side to put the lead up 42-34 for AI, and then a turnover on the other side, missed shot, and it's going to be AI's ball. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan here on Fox Sports 1290 and the live stream for 302 Sports. AI had a commanding lead as much as 18 early in the third quarter, cut to 6 at the end of the third quarter, cut to 6 at the end of the third quarter on Mark Bradshaw's three-pointer. He was held scoreless in the first half, has just 5 points, and Johnson drives in, misses the layup. That's been a theme for AI here in the second half. They've missed several wide-open layoffs. It's going to be a turnover to the Glasgow Dragons.
Now that's 10 points on a missed dunk and 4 missed layups we've seen from AI, and it really feels like their season prospects boiled down to this corner and holding on against a good Glasgow team.
And a turnover. Rivera comes down with it on the floor for Glasgow, but gets tied up. It's going to be a jump ball, and it's going to stay with the Dragons.
There was no panic in the AI huddle in between the quarters. Coach Van Kerkhoven keeping things under control. His guys are still confident. They still look like they're intensely into the game. And again, I don't think it's too heavy to say that it feels like a lot of what's going to happen to their season is going to happen in the next, be determined by what happens in the next 7 minutes.
They've got a 3-game losing streak. These seniors trying to get to the down. No such luck. Ball.
Bradshaw still finding ways to contribute, even though he's found his shot a little bit. You know his momentum's got to be, the juice has got to be flowing after that three-pointer at the buzzer of the third quarter. So great job running the floor defensively.
AI with a 42-34 lead, 6:20 to play here in the game. George, Bernard, Johnson, Dantley, and Rollins in the game. They were the starters. Johnson with a fallaway jumper, no good, but tipped in by Bernard. So Bernard, his first 2 points of the night, extends the lead to 10 for AI, and then Glasgow almost throws it away. A near steal by Bernard, out of bounds. Instead, it's going to stay Dragons ball.
And Bernard, a phenomenal job on the offensive end. He just took advantage of 3 Glasgow players that fell asleep in the lane, tucked his way inside, got the rebound, and went up for the easy 2.
Rivera has it in a low post against Bernard and has his way with him. So Rivera, his 11th point of the night, and it's 44-36, back to an 8-point lead for AI. George driving in, gets fouled. They're going to call the foul on David Nichols. That'll be his second. And as you mentioned, Marty, AI is going to be in the 1-on-1 the rest of the night until they reach the double bonus.
And we certainly know that Glasgow, Coach Jean and his players know that AI has struggled somewhat from the free throw line this year. The sophomore George, who's done an outstanding job for them, will go to the line, and they really need to knock these down. They're going to have the opportunity to score a lot of points in this fourth quarter, and so far they're taking advantage.
He hits the first, and that makes it a 45-36 lead for AI. 5:54 to play here. AI comes in with a 3-5 record. mentioned, a 3-game losing streak. Second shot is up and good. So the sophomore, Rashawn George, now 3 of 4 from the line. It's back to a 10-point lead. AI pressing. That's Rollins, and they're going to call a foul, and they're going to call it on Rollins. That'll be his third. And we don't have the stat. It looks like it is going to be a 1-on-1. So both these teams are going to be in 1-on-1 the rest of the way.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting now. It's going to be a battle of the free throws here as we now have Glasgow at 7 personal fouls. So both teams will be shooting throughout. Glasgow, a 62% free throw shooting team on the season, 5% better than AI. So you'd love Glasgow's chances if they can get to the line a lot in this fourth quarter.
Green checks in for Flippin Mowbray, who was 0 for 2 in the first quarter from the charity stripe. Hits the first one, makes it a 46-37 game. 5:47 left to play here. Second is up and nothing but net. So Mowbray hits 2, and it is a 46-38. Glasgow within 6 as they were at the end of the third quarter. That's as close as they've gotten since the first quarter. Dantley drives on the baseline, met there, and they're going to call a foul. I thought it could have been a travel.
I thought it was going to be a travel as well.
Instead, it's going to be, I'm sorry, Marty, go ahead.
That's okay. They must say the contact from Bradshaw is what forced the travel, because there certainly was a walk there, and they looked like it could have gone either way. The referee obviously in better position than we were. But, again, in this game, I have a habit of talking about how I bemoan the lack of free throw shooting in the state of Delaware, but we've seen 6 consecutive made free throws in this game, 4 by AI. So an opportunity to distance themselves even further here if Dantley can take advantage.
If I'm correct, it's Bradshaw's 4th foul as Dantley misses the foul shot. Coming down with the ball is Rivera. So Glasgow with the ball moving left to right. Bradshaw has it. He's been held in check all night. Came in as the leading scorer for Glasgow. It's going to be a foul underneath. And the foul is going to be against Jameer Dantley. That's his second. And the foul is going to be against Jameer Dantley. That's his second. He's the only starter of AI who doesn't have 3 fouls. And going to the line to shoot 2 is going to be to shoot 1, 1-on-1 will be Mark Bradshaw. Again, comes into the game with 16.6 points per game, held scoreless in the first half, and missed this foul shot. Only has 5 total for the game. Ball was knocked out of bounds, and it's going to stay Dragon ball.
Again, AI, there's a lack of size there. Glasgow has a clear size advantage down low, and at that time took advantage to get the offensive rebound, but they can't cash in.
Boy, it was Mowbray who drove in, and it did everything but go to the bottom of the net. Bradshaw picks it up, drives in, and he's fouled and scores. So the leading scorer is getting on fire here, and that's going to be Rollins' 5th foul of the night, and Bradshaw has the 2 and is going to try to get the old-fashioned 3-pointer. Checking in is Morgan. He's going to come in for Rollins, who I mentioned has the 4th foul here. And going to the line is Mark Bradshaw, has just 7 points tonight, and I stay just because he averages 16.6. Free throw is up hard off the back of the rim, no good. Dantley skies for the rebound, rips it out, sprints to the other end of the floor, and wisely pulls it back out, being guarded by Mowbray. They get it over to Morgan. Morgan gets it back out front to George. George drives by his man, lays it up and good.
Sean George, the sophomore, with a grown-up move there. He took advantage of the overplay to the left side by Trey Green, drove down the right side of the left side of the lane, laid it up and in for the easy 2.
And Bradshaw drives in, and George doing it on both sides of the floor, and it gets smacked away and out of bounds. It's going to stay AI ball.
The interesting thing about that drive by George is Green was daring him to go to his right. He did, took full advantage.
Inbounded into the corner, driving in is Mowbray, and this time he travels before contact was made. Turnover to AI.
And that's great defense by Bernard. He went straight up with his arms, forced the walk there, and another unforced error by Glasgow.
Almost 4:38 left to play here, 48-40. AI with the lead. Token press by Glasgow, man-to-man. They're able to get it across the timeline. George has it. He gets it over to Johnson. Johnson being covered by Mowbray at the top of the circle there. They get it over to Morgan, the senior. A near steal. It is a steal. Nice job by Nichols. Coming away with it is Bradshaw. He gets it back to Nichols. Nichols goes up, and Morgan blocks away.
Morgan, a phenomenal job there. I'm not sure the approach Nichols chose to go with there was very odd looking, like he was trying to draw contact. He had an easy route for a layup, but made it much more difficult on himself. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see that the frustration on his face as he puts his hands on his knees, ruining that missed opportunity.
Well, what's going to be more frustrating is Bradshaw, the leading scorer on this team, just fouled out of the game. So at the 4:03 mark, Bradshaw has a seat with 5 fouls, and knowing that he had 4, I'm not sure you want to foul the guy out here, 20-plus feet
and you
away
know
from
what?
the basket.
We've talked about it throughout the night. I think part of that comes in the frustration factor where he just hasn't been his night. He hasn't really hit much from the field. He had the big three-pointer at the end of the third quarter, but he's also struggled. His last 2 free throws were badly missed. So it's just one of those nights, but he did contribute in other ways and help them bring this close to a situation where they're still very much in this ball game.
So on the line is Dantley. He makes this, and he will get a second. He is 3 of 4 from the free throw line. In the second half was 3 of 6 in the first half. So doing a decent job from the line. His team now is up 49-40 at the midway mark here in the fourth quarter, 4:03 to be exact. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Second foul shot is up and no good. And coming down with it is Mowbray. He's on the floor with Nichols and Rivera and Flip, and Mowbray drives in with his left hand and good. So taking things into his own hand, Nasir Mowbray, and it is now 49-42 and a whistle underneath.
Yeah, foolish foul on Mowbray. He just simply grabbed his defender under the basket right before the ball was inbounded. I know he's feeling it from that sweet move he had to lay up with the left hand, but just a foul you can't commit in that situation. John, you talk about it all the time. You don't want to commit fouls 90 feet from the basket, especially in a game you're only down by 7 points, and now you're sending them to the line for 2.
And you're in foul trouble. I have him for 4 fouls.
I do as well.
They haven't put it up on the board yet, and you're sending Jameer Dantley now. They have to be in the double bonus by now. We'll see here. No indication from the ref, and it is. They are in the double bonus. And so Dantley will get 2 fouls here.
This is where it's going to come down to this for AI, John. Again, a 56%, 57% free throw shooting team. Dantley has really come on in this second half. I believe now he's 4 for 6 in this second half, which is above his season average.
19 points tonight, also above his season average of 12 points per game. So Dantley is on the floor along with Morgan, Bernard, Johnson, and the freshman Kelson. Second shot is up and good. So it's 51-42 with 3:49 to play. Glasgow's going to have to make a move now, and Nichols makes a move, but unfortunately turns the ball over. Going to be AI ball.
Yeah, Nichols with the exaggerated kind of carry move there, and called for the turnover. It was the good call, one of those high rebounds that came up to about shoulder level, forced him to turn his hand over. So a good job, a good pickup by the ref. And again, a broken record time again, but another unforced error by Glasgow.
And that forces a timeout for Glasgow. Jeremy John looking at now or never. 51-42, under 4 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Special Olympics Delaware is always looking for qualified coaches or former players wanting to coach. Spring sports are just around the corner, and they need coaches in softball, swimming, track and field, bocce, tennis, and powerlifting. Visit SODE.org for more information on how you can give back to some of the greatest athletes in the state of Delaware. Speaking of that, Unified Basketball has started at the high school level. It's Special Olympics athletes along with their student athlete peers in local high schools. There's 14 teams playing across the state. You can go to the websites for sports schedule to see when they play near you. And the Polar Bear Plunge is February 3rd. More than 3,000 people expected to jump in the icy waters of the Atlantic Ocean, including yours truly. It's not too late to sign up, Marty. PlungeDE.org. And even if you're not going to come down and jump in the ocean, a lot to do on Saturday. There's a chili tasting contest, a 5K run or walk, Fire and Ice Festival, and sand sculpting. Lots of fun things for families to do. 3:46 to play here. AI DuPont inbounding with the ball at 51-42 lead, trying to break a 3-game losing streak. Their record is 3-5. Dantley has the ball, and he's working it around. And I'm sure one thing that Coach Van Kerkhoven stressed during that timeout is we do not need to rush our shot. There's no shot clock here in high school basketball as long as you don't get called for a 5-second violation. I would say unless it's a layup, we're not taking the shot.
I
and
agree.
Instead, Dantley turns it over and dribbles it off his foot, and you can see his frustration matched only by his head coaches. So turnover to Glasgow, 51-42, and we'll see if that turnover ends up giving Glasgow the momentum that they need, as Mowbray, who's gotten a lot of playing time here tonight, much more than we saw on the game film that we watched, and it almost gets stolen by the freshman, Brahim Kelson, also getting a lot of playing time compared to what we saw a week ago when we did the Appaquiddick AI game up in Greenville. 3:10 to play. Glasgow with the ball. They trail 51-42. Haven't led since they led 2-0 at the beginning of this game. They trailed by 3 at the end of the first quarter, 17 at the end of the half, pulled to within 6 at the end of the quarter as Rivera goes up with it underneath and gets fouled. And if they call that on Bernard, that's going to be his fourth. And it is on Daniel Bernard, and so he has 4, and Rivera is going to head to the line. 1 for 1 from the line so far tonight. He's got 11 points, 3 over his 8.4 average.
Rivera very lucky to get bailed out there by the foul. He caught the ball and maneuvered himself completely underneath the basket and tried to go up, and was fortunate to draw the contact, go to the line, knock down the first one.
So it's 51-43. Rivera has another one coming. We can expect Glasgow to full court press as they have most of this second half. Rivera's second shot is up, good form, and nothing but the bottom of the net. So 51-44, 3:03 to play. Streaking up the other side is George, and Mowbray forces him back outside. I think he was coming back out anyway. He gets it to Johnson. He and George played catch with it, handing it off to each other. Now they get it into the hands of Dantley. Dantley is covered by Flippin. On every tape I watch, Marty, he played defense just like he's playing now.
Exactly. That's what he brings to this team.
George gets by him, though, dishes it off to Kelson. Kelson almost turns around over. It gets tipped away. There's a scrum on the floor. Kelson has it underneath him, and instead coming away with it is Dantley, who I think pushed it too much. Rivera gets it. This is more like a hockey game right now than a basketball game. And it looks like they're going to call a foul on Dantley.
That was, they're more like a rugby scrum at that point. The players' bodies, the ball all over the place. And eventually some contact.
Somebody called a timeout.
It looks like they're going to give AI the timeout there. It changed possession 4 or 5 times in about an 8-second period.
So AI spends their final timeout. They have a 51-44 lead. I believe it will be their ball when they get it back. And so lots of helter-skelter back and forth. Don't forget, following tonight's game, stay tuned for the American Spirit Federal Credit Union post-game show. We'll recap all the action and final stats, announce our Crown Trophy player of the game, and hope to have the winning coach on to discuss the game as well. It's the American Spirit Federal Credit Union post-game show just minutes after the final horn sounds. And so, Marty, you've said it multiple times. AI's playing better than you've seen them play all year, once in person, several times on tape. It'll be interesting to see if they can hang in right here. One of the problems when you lose a lot of games, as they have 5 times, you're not used to being in close games at the end with a lead and having to hold on. So a new experience for the Tigers, at least in 2018.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because the first thing I thought in that timeout was now the mental part of the game takes over. They're not used to being in this position. They're used to they're playing with the lead kind of early on and then losing it and then having to fight their way back in. Now they're in a position where they're the one guarding the lead. So far, so good. They're hitting their free throws. Bradshaw is out for Glasgow. You got to see if AI takes advantage of that.
AI inbounds, 2:24 to play, 51-44. Tigers with the lead. Both teams in the double bonus. Morgan has it up front, being guarded closely by Flippin, and they're going to call a hand check against Flippin. Had too much arm on him for Flippin. That is his second foul, and heading to the line to shoot 2 will be Kyle Morgan.
And if you're Glasgow, you're in a position now where you really don't mind that foul. You want to get it trying to go for a turnover. Morgan is not a kid that's gone to the line a ton during the season. Steps up big and nails his first one right there. So the senior coming up big at the line.
Extends the lead to 52-44. And for Morgan, that is his 10th point of the night. He's got 3 threes, missed the second free throw, and it goes out of bounds. Both refs are looking at each other. They're going to say it's Glasgow ball. So with 2:14 to play, down 8. Glasgow's going to have to not only get a good shot, Marty, but they can't take a lot of time waiting to get it.
And without Bradshaw, the guy the offense runs through constantly, they're resort to just chucking up a shot there. That was an interesting decision. Nasir Mowbray, boy, I'm not sure Jeremy John wanted that shot.
Yeah, we'll find out here because there's somebody coming in.
It's about a 26, 27-footer there that he just pulled up and kind of chucked up on his own. And
Damon Hancock checks in for Flippin. I thought he might have been checking in for Mowbray after that shot. But it is going to stay Glasgow ball. Nichols is going to inbounds right in front of his head coach. It's back and forth. Nichols has it back. Low on the rim, no good. And coming away with it is Rollins, and he gets it ahead to Bernard. And Bernard making a senior move there instead of trying to make a contested layup. Pulls it back out front. Dantley has it, 1:54 to play. AI with the lead. Dantley has it, had a wide open three. Again, a wise move by the senior, pulling it back out. And they're going to get Trey Green for a foul. I believe it is his 4th. And it'll be Dantley that heads to the foul line to shoot 2.
And John, this is a little interesting storyline. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is the first time we've seen Damon Hancock on the floor tonight.
It is, yeah.
He's averaging 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists on the season. So whatever the reason, he sat out the first 3 and 75% of the fourth quarter here before checking in. And it looks like that may have only been due to foul trouble. So interesting storyline. A guy who's been a big part of their season offensively and defensively, not being on the floor tonight.
Dantley's first shot is up, and it is good, so it becomes 53-44. Yeah, I watched the Del Castle tape, and Hancock played quite a bit.
He's all over the place, yeah.
Game.
He's a kid with a lot of skills. Interesting to maybe find out at some point what happened to him.
And so Dantley getting ready to try to cash in on the double bonus. His last time he made both, this time in and out, no good. Skying for the rebound is Nichols, and not a good foul by Kyle Morgan, who not only stops the clock, but he's going to send Nichols to the free throw line, and Nichols is 2 for 2 on the night. So the 3rd foul for Kyle Morgan.
I'm thinking our viewers even heard Mark Van Kerkhoven let out a scream on that one as 80 feet from the basket, a foul you just don't want to pick up, especially you're sending a team to the line that shoots fairly well. As I say that, Nichols way off on his first shot.
George is going to check in, as is Flippin. Flippin's going to get Hancock.
You know what? Hancock is limping a little bit,
yeah.
So I'm not sure if maybe he just wasn't available tonight. But Mowbray has done a nice job, and our team is flipping, as you talked about. He's been a really big part of the night for Glasgow.
Nichols misses both, but bailed out by Mowbray, who gets the rebound and puts it back up, 53-46. So it's a 7-point game. AI with the ball. And Rollins gets it up. Looks like he could have gotten to the basket. Pulls it back out. Instead, George has it. He's being guarded by Flippin. Now double teamed by Mowbray. They get it over to Dantley. And he and George having a catch here out near the midcourt line. Referee counting the clock. And they get it. They work it around. Bernard has it on the baseline. Now he's going to pull it back out.
Yeah,
Rivera,
I'm not sure what Glasgow's doing at this point, John.
And now a foul.
Yeah, boy, they let a ton of time come off the clock there. And it wasn't like they were going for a lot of steals. They were just sort of letting AI DuPont play catch out front. Finally, Coach John yelled multiple times, and they finally did pick up the foul. So in a situation now with 1:09 left, a 7-point lead, you've got no other choice but to send the Tigers to the line.
And first shot is up and no good by Maxwell. Hancock's going to check back in for Flippin. So Hancock's a good 3-point shooter. I'm sure that's why he's in the game. And, it's, back to the clock situation, in the NBA with a shot clock or even college, you wouldn't foul there because you've got plenty of time. But when it's clear the other team's not going to the basket and is not going to shoot, you want a foul there. Maxwell makes the second, so it is now a 54-46 lead. Hancock on cue, throws it up inside the lane, but a bad miss there. And Dantley comes down with it. Probably could have hit Bernard for a layup. Instead, pulls it back outside. A wise move there, and they're going to have to foul him. Almost goes back court with it. Gets it over to Rollins. And now there's going to be a foul here. We'll see whether they give it to Rivera, and they are going to give it to Ismael Rivera. It will be his 3rd, and so with an 8-point lead, it's going to be Rollins who heads to the free throw line. It'll be his first free throws of the night, and he'll have a chance to make a pair as they are in the double bonus.
Yeah, it's interesting at Glasgow's approach here at the end against a team that is not a very good free throw shooting team. Again, another miss there on the first one for Rollins. But 8-point lead, 50 seconds left. It's not out of the realm of possibility. As you said, this Glasgow team has some good 3-point shooters. Hancock is one of them. AI, if they miss enough free throws, Glasgow's not out of this yet.
Second shot is up and also no good. Nichols skies for the rebound. And I believe a timeout was called. It was by Jeremy Jean. I imagine it's going to be a full timeout. It is going to be a full timeout. According to my stats, they still have one left. So 54-46, Glasgow with the ball. And really the story of the night for Glasgow is Mark Bradshaw, who came in with a 16.6 average, and he only has 7 points, which is a good night for a lot of people, but he was also shut out in the first half, and I think that was one of the keys. It allowed AI to build a 30-13 lead at the half, really 30-10 until Bradshaw hit that three there at the end. And so, that was at the end of the third quarter. I think that he hit that three.
That's right.
So either way, regardless, AI was able to build a lead, get some confidence, and really they've never looked back, and now they have 48 seconds left to hang on here. And so Glasgow's going to have the ball. AI's going to do what it's done all night, going to apply some pressure, see if they can force Glasgow to turn the ball over on their own.
And Glasgow averaging 62 points on the season. AI, a phenomenal defensive effort, holding them to below 50 at this point.
And on cue, Glasgow almost throws it away. It looked like that might have been tipped by either Johnson or Dantley, but what I would call an ill-advised pass from right in front of us all the way diagonally across the gym. Even if that's caught, the player's not going to be able to do anything with it. Mowbray has it. He's being guarded closely by Johnson. Drives right by him. Scoops on it up with the left hand. Another missed layup here tonight. Out of bounds, and it's going to stay Glasgow ball. They'll inbound underneath their own baskets right in front of their cheerleaders.
Yeah, they've let so much time go off in the last few possessions. I think you're really in a three-point shooting situation here as they throw the ball away.
They throw the ball away. George is struggling to try to get it with Green, and they help each other out, or I should say Green helps George out. Nice sportsmanship there. Going to be Glasgow ball. 32 seconds left, 54-36. AI with an 8-point lead. Other than being down 2-0, they've led since. And a throwaway there by Glasgow. Dantley has it. Could have gone in for a layup. Pulls it back out. 25 seconds left. And now Rivera has no choice but to foul him. And AI can sense that their 3-game losing streak is going to come to an end with 22 seconds left.
And this really feels like a season-saving victory for AI. I mean, this was something they desperately needed. I don't think anyone I know, I can only speak for myself, I did not see this coming tonight. Not after the AI performance we saw against Apo last week. This is a team that rededicated themselves. They came out and put in a phenomenal defensive effort to shut down Glasgow and did just enough offensively. And at the free throw line in the second half, again, they're not great, but they're doing enough to hold the lead, and they're going to go home. Going to be a nice, easy bus ride, fun bus ride home for these kids after 3 consecutive defeats.
Dantley makes the first of 2, so it's 55-46, 22 seconds left to play. Second shot is up and good. So Dantley has come through. His 22nd point of the night. 20 seconds left, a 10-point lead, and firing from 3, and it's no good. That was Nasir Mowbray, and it hit out of bounds off the strap above the backboard. And it's going to be AI ball, and Jeremy Jean has just thrown a white flag, told his players we're not going to foul anymore.
I like that.
So
Classy.
12 seconds left to play. Jeremy Jean is a classy coach, as is Mark Van Kerkhoven, who will be glad to end this 3-game losing streak as the clock winds down. Your final score here from Glasgow High. The AI DuPont Tigers have snapped their 3-game losing streak and handed the Glasgow Dragons a 56-46 defeat. We'll be back right after this with your American Spirit Federal Credit Union postgame show. Once again, your final score, AI 56, Glasgow 46. Get him.
Coach, can we talk to you for a minute? Yeah. Congratulations.
You're still here, right? All right, joining us here is Mark Van Kerkhoven, the winning coach from the AI DuPont Tigers. And, Coach, we didn't get a chance to talk to you last week, but we're glad to have you on this week. A big win for your team, the first of 2019, and you break that 3-game losing streak. My broadcast partner, Marty, said it several times. It looked like a new AI team here tonight compared to what we saw a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of came together at practice this week, worked hard. Kids kind of got themselves together individually and as a team without coaches. kind of had a little meeting, and it kind of brought them together, and you can see that tonight on the floor.
It looks like this was a win that was more generated by your defensive effort. These kids, the intensity in the first half, looking through your stats, there was a couple games, especially in the last 4, where the second and third quarters were kind of danger zones for you guys. Tonight, the intensity just from the first quarter through the fourth quarter was there, but it was especially on the defensive end, which is where you ended up, turning the ball over and getting some points. Is there a renewed emphasis on the defensive part of your game?
I wouldn't say renewed, it's just buy-in.
Okay.
We preach defense. That's the side of the ball that's always going to win basketball games for you. We hang our hat on that. And, basketball season is a long season. It's 4 months long. It's ebb and flow, runs throughout the season along within games. And as long as you can buy into the defensive end of the ball or defensive side of the ball, you're always going to find yourself in games and being competitive. And we did that tonight. It's the first time in 4 games we've bought in on the defensive end, and you see how it turned out.
Yes. Coach, we always say it's a marathon, not a sprint, but tonight you won the sprint. Congratulations. We'll let you go celebrate with your team.
Appreciate it.
Coach Mark Van Kerkhoven, in his second year with the AI DuPont Tigers, has moved AI to 4-5 on the season. Glasgow picks up just their 3rd loss, their first in 2019. They are at 8-3. Some scoring recaps for you. AI led by 23, Jameer Dantley. Maxwell Johnson has 9. Rashawn George, 7. Kyle Morgan, 10. 3 points for Brahim Kelson, the freshman. 2 points apiece for Daniel Bernard and Roland Rollins there. For Glasgow, they were led by Ismael Rivera, who had 13 points, 7 in the second half. Trey Green had 10. Mark Bradshaw, 7 points, but held scoreless in the first half. Nasir Mowbray also with 7, also held scoreless in the first half. David Nichols with 6. Artemis Flippin with 3, and Rashawn Hunt with 1. So a solid game on both ends of the floor. Glasgow jumped out to a 2-0 lead. AI caught up, went ahead, led 11-8 at the end of the first quarter, led 30-13 at the half. 40-34 was the score at the end of the third quarter as Glasgow pulled within 6, and then they never got closer than 6 in that fourth quarter. Ended up coming away with a 56-46 win. Marty, your thoughts on the game?
Again, I think it's a season-saving victory for AI. It